Hi.
Hi.
This is the crypto trading room that goes by the name of Watch Us Trade. I'm a man who's part ape, and I go by the name of Gorilla.
It's true.
Yes,
Everything true. So far, everything you said was true.
We have a cowboy with us. We have a man who's just simply known as the Ever Seen.
Yes.
We have the Asian Wonder Kid. He's joining us today as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all here.
How come you only pointed out his race? This is your white privilege, V.
But
this is your
sorry
because V's white.
Yeah, we're having that Fox Radio moment by me calling V out on white privilege.
You should have done your research.
I set you up.
Like I
set you up to say you should have done your research by saying you're exercising white privilege.
Oh my God.
That's actually that's a cultural misappropriation. If you're exercising white privilege and you're not white, that's cultural.
Yeah, how dare you, V? How dare you? I've had generations I've had generations of my family tyrannizing the world to get this white privilege, and you just appropriate it.
I just appropriate just like that.
Anyway,
I wonder how pure you are, Frank.
You ever
me?
The 24
pure?
and me or 23 and me or whatever.
I'm a total man.
Oh, dude,
he's
a Scottish, Italian, Irish.
Oh, really?
I mean, how are you half Irish and Italian, man?
I thought you would be 99.9% German.
I'm considerably German. Actually.
I mean, he looks like Hitler Youth, but you know.
That's what I'm saying. I thought that we would just like Frank would just show up on the DNA.
Frank looks like a card-carrying member of the Waffen SS.
Yeah, I don't know about Hitler Youth. I was thinking more like Hitler Middle Age, but that works.
Leave the Ever Seen alone.
Ever Seen alone. Yeah, no, grandma. Both my grandmothers are named Gertrude. One is mostly French, and one was mostly Italian or mostly German.
How's that even possible? Gertrude, both grandmothers. Jeez.
Both grandmothers named Gert.
Well, their parents decided to name them Gertrude, and some of their parents were German, and some of their parents were French. And that's how that's possible.
Yeah, that's how it happened.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah,
makes sense to me.
My mother says there's some kind of like French aristocracy or. I don't know. Some important.
Let's talk about Z's Asian privilege.
What's up? Yes. What?
What's up with your Asian privilege, Z?
Yes.
Man, I don't know, dude. I'm all over the place when it comes to my Asian heritage. So
yeah, you are. You're like Chinese. You're probably a little bit
Chinese, Japanese in me, dude. Japanese. There's a lot of me. So yeah, I don't know.
Sorry, go ahead. No,
nothing.
So this is Visual Trading Thursday. And
this is Racist Trading Thursday.
Yeah, we're looking at.
We have a racist Italian. What are you, man? Italian and what?
You're talking about Nick?
Nick.
You're talking about Cowboy?
Yeah.
Isn't he like a purebred Sicilian?
Raised in a Sicilian.
He's a Sicilian. He's a Sicilian stallion.
Yeah, and there's German and Scottish, and I'm all
but he's mostly Sicilian, dude. He does amazing things with piano wire.
He could very easily be a character in The Godfather. Very easily.
Cowboy could definitely be on a hitman movie. He could be like in a mob movie. He could be like the guy that one of those zips from Sicily. They carry that on the piano wire and they choke you right behind your neck. Like you're getting in your car, you're starting your car thinking you're gonna go home. Nope.
Yeah, just if your car isn't starting if your car isn't starting that smoothly, just make sure you're not around my zip code. Yeah, blowing up cars and blowing up charts is what we're doing today.
That's it.
All
right, folks. You can catch us on watchustrade.io or WT.live, what.live. We have with us the Crypto Cowboy, aka the precision guided munition of crypto, and we have the Jet Li, folks, the young Jet Li, not the current.
There you go again with the Asian stuff.
What? He's the Jet Li of crypto. It's Crypto Neckos. He's here with us as well. He is the Bruce Lee of cryptos, and he's gonna show us exactly how this whole thing runs. And I am the Mahatma Gandhi of the economic world. And the Ever Seen. This is all sorts of racist stuff. I love it.
And we're gonna chase some Bitcoin today and make Monopoly at camera fields.
That's a good one, bro.
Nice.
That's
so
epic.
On Visual Trading Thursday, we look at an indicator, and also get in the chat, folks. The chat is really quiet today. We're going to look at a particular indicator that will to educate you, and this is something that these guys talk about a lot. It's I remember in our early days together, it was something I had never heard of, and you guys were always talking about it, and that's the Ichimoku cloud and how that indicator works. So we're going to take a couple minutes to look at that. We're also going to take a couple minutes to answer questions in the chat. So I'm in the chat as Watch Us Trade, and the other guys might pop in. They're a little easier to identify. So yeah, what's up, guys? Welcome, Brian. Welcome, Romero. There's Z right there in the chat, the crypto cat. So, Mr. Cowboy, why don't you intro the Ichimoku to us, and I will, with very little effort, play the ignorant student and ask you questions as you go.
Well, sure, yeah. Ichimoku is something that actually Neko's introduced, Crypto Neko's, that's Z here, more introduced to me not that long ago. And so Ichimoku is an indicator that works on averages and past price, and it will kind of predict a trend. So as long as the trend is going in, its current direction, then it will give you an idea of where that can go in the future. And then, of course, it can also give you some clues as to what's going to happen. Like I said, it uses averages, and it's actually pretty interesting looking. So I'm going to bring it up from scratch here. There are a lot of people who say that and I'm going to have to change some colors. It's hard to see on the screen. There are a lot of people who believe that Ichimoku, like if you use different settings on it, will be better for crypto. That could be possible. For my testing, it seems that is correct, but some other people who are great traders, they don't do that. They just use the same settings as they would for like stocks and stuff. But I'm going to go through my settings so people can see it. I use 20 for conversion line, 30 for baseline. Lagging span is the 60, and the displacement is 120. Is that how you do Z? Is that correct, or did I do that all wrong?
It is 20, 60, 120, 30.
30. Okay, yeah, that last one did seem.
Yeah, so you can change the parameters around, guys. It varies. So sometimes if I'm trading altcoins and I want to check around, I want to be a little bit more conservative, I'll actually use 2040. There's times you can use 1030. It varies.
Cowboy, why don't you bring that up again? Sorry to interrupt.
Sure, I'll bring that back.
While he's talking, can you bring that up so people can take a minute and copy it? And... Sorry, go ahead, Z.
Oh no. Just long story short, right? So your conversion line, your baseline, those are your blue and red lines. So your Tenkan-sen and your Kijun-sen. That's your conversion line, and that's your baseline right there. That line right there can be shifted based on like your style of trading. So it doesn't always have to be 2060. 2060 is typical for general traders, but some people who like using the Ichimoku in depth, like we've mentioned this guy named Josh, which I learned Ichimoku from. He changes it around depending on which time frame he's using. If he's using a longer period time frame, he'll go 2060. If he's using a shorter period time frame and he's trading on a shorter like swing trades or day trades, he might switch it up to 1030 or even 2040, depending on so. This way it's not as risky.
Okay. So what we have on the screen right now is sort of your standard go-to settings.
Yes.
That you guys use for Ichimoku.
Standard go-to for crypto, not for regular. The defaults are good for, say, like Forex or stocks or something that's going to run, say, 9 to 5. Not 5 days a week as opposed to 24 hours. And that's the logic that everybody is using as to why people are doing a different setting for cryptos, because it trades 365 24/7, and so the settings are different.
Right.
So that's that. And so some of the things that Z was talking about, there's the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen, and the Tenkan-sen is what is called a conversion line. That's this blue line right here that is a little bit more wild than the red line, and the red line is what's called the Kijun-sen, and the Kijun-sen is the baseline. And one thing I'll note right away is that one of the very useful things about the Kijun-sen is that price tends to be attracted back to it. It'll swing way above it, it'll swing below it, but it'll always come back, because it's actually it's almost literally a moving average. It kind of is one. It's a little bit different than that, but it's essentially a moving average. The Tenkan-sen is actually the faster moving average. So in a sense, these can be used in a similar way. And so, you know, for those who saw the video that I put out on the Neko's channel, we talk about moving averages and how people use those to trade, and that is relative to the Ichimoku. In between the, I forget, there's the Senko span, and then there's the other span, and these are the two lines that they're actually determined by prior price. So what they do is they form these clouds, and the cloud is something that we pay attention to for, like, is the price generally bearish or is the price generally bullish? And you know, if price and if like taken San Kijin Sen and Taken Sen cross happen above
say
the
that
cloud,
fast, like at least 10 times fast. Go ahead.
Taken Sen, Kijin Sen. All right, that's good. If that, we call it TK cross. So if you have like a TK cross that happens, you know, above the cloud, and it's certain, and it's like a bullish cross above the cloud, then that's going to be a pretty bullish signal. If it's a bearish cross above the cloud, well, that's in bull territory. So it's not as strong of a bearish signal. So there's a lot of things to kind of think about. But let's talk about, I guess, what a cross means. So a good example of a cross that makes a difference, I think a good example would be, say, right here. Let me go ahead and highlight it with a circle. So you see the blue line cross below the red line inside of the circle that I just drew. It is above the cloud, and price itself at this time is actually below the cloud, or in the cloud. So it's the price itself is kind of neutral. If it were below the cloud, price would be bearish. If it were above the cloud, price would be bullish. Have a bearish cross above the cloud, which is, it's not that far above the cloud. Technically it is. So it is a weak bearish signal. And for most assets, you would consider an exit or a short. And it did roll down a little bit right here. And then here we have a bullish cross right here, where the blue line crosses above the red line. It's obscured by the clouds, a little hard to see. But you see the red line comes down like this, and the blue line comes up. And it is in the cloud. It's even towards the top of the cloud, and we did see a run right there. So there are traders.
Don't you love when it does right on the screen what you're saying it should do?
Yeah, and you know, with Bitcoin, it's not always the case. But you know, Bitcoin's kind of funky like that. It works much better, as most indicators do, on the higher time frames with Bitcoin, because with the pro traders doing what they do with the market, it throws a lot of indicators off. So you know, ultimately, as Z, and I'm going to unleash Neko's on you, because he's actually pretty good at Ichimoku. You know, has, I think, spent more time with it than I have. What a lot of traders might tell you is that it's good for entries and not so much for exits, and that is demonstrated right here. If that were the case, I've not back tested that, but if that were the case, that you would see that, like, you would exit right here if you were following that rule, and then price really didn't go down. It went down a little bit in, you know, here, so perhaps you like did well with that, but this this bullish cross right here sure did puff us up pretty high. But then you have the Kijin Sen down here below in red. We know price is going to get attracted back to that red. So you kind of have an idea that's a shorting opportunity. I got out in this area, but not based on Ichimoku. So, but I think Z could probably, like I said, Z can share his screen and enlighten us further on Ichimoku, since he's actually has a really good...
So let me pull this up real fast, guys. I'll share my screen right now.
Yeah, this is actually not a chart. It's a little car. See the wheels on the bus go round and round right here with the little yellow circle. And this is the back of the bus, and this is the front. No jokes, Fee. No jokes.
Let me see. I'll share that. Okay, cool. Okay, so
I think
can you guys...
V, I think you have to switch over to his screen, V. You have control.
Yes. Yes. Hold on, please. Okay. Yes.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
It should be able to.
Okay, so right now we have the right. We talked about the Ichimoku. You see my settings right there. It's 2060, 120, 30. And this is essentially, this is Bitcoin. So the Ichimoku is great for entries, as Cowboy said, and it's great for exits on very long-term situations. And I'll demonstrate it right now for you guys. But it is mainly used for entries. When it comes to altcoins, guys, I use Ichimoku in the 4-hour setting. It used to be the 3-hour setting, but then now it's the 4-hour setting for me personally. I have back tested this a little bit, and for me, the 4-hour setting has been the best for altcoins. I think right now, since the liquidity in the entire space, since the general volume in the entire space is a little bit on the downside right now, you could entertain it with longer periods. I personally have been only doing 4-hour for altcoins, and it's been working out very well. It draws out a longer trade, meaning that typically whenever I enter a trade, it is going to last like 2 or 3 days, which is not really standard how it used to be. Like when I used to trade Ichimoku back in the day, I used to use a 3-hour or even the 1-hour at times, and my trades would generate in like a few hours versus a few days. But right now, because the volume is low in the space, the 4-hour has been really well. It has been doing really well. So, as Cowboy stated right. Here, let me boost these lines up for you guys so you guys can see real fast.
Do you have a super wide screen?
Yeah, is it looking really weird?
No, it looks good.
It looks cool. It's just very wide.
Yeah, I have ultra wide.
I'm trying to picture what kind of monitor you're using.
Oh yeah, dude, this monitor is amazing. Anyways, so I boosted the lines up, guys. As you can see right here, there's a point of entry right here. You hear us talk about point of entries a lot of time. So this is where the Tenkin-sen cross the Kijin-sen, right? This essentially means that here.
Hey Z, just so you know, like, I don't know, if you make the red like a little bit brighter of a red for the Kijin-sen, it might make it easier for people to see from out there from YouTube land.
Here, can you guys see that better?
Like if you open up the settings on
I'm gonna make it a different red, a brighter red.
Yeah, that bright red just makes it easier to see.
Like that.
Yeah, it looks good.
All right. So you guys can see right here where my mouse is circling right here. I tried to highlight a point of entry right there. So right there you see a point of entry, right? The Tenkin-sen crosses the Kijin-sen line. The blue line crosses the red line. It's very simple. The blue line crosses the red line. And you see a point of entry right now on the 4-hour. So as you guys can see right here, 240 minutes. It's a 4-hour time frame right now. And as you can see this giant rise up right here, right? So this was a point of entry that was actually very successful. And then right here, see, as Cowboy stated before, it's not the best for exits. You won't catch the top of an exit, but you still will catch an exit. So a lot of times, a lot of algos are based on the Ichimoku itself. And right here, these two lines cross once again. You see the Kijin-sen line going, downwards, and the Tenkin-sen line going even further downwards, which caused a further drop down, and you can see this giant red spike down. So if you just go by the Kijin-sen, if you just go by the points of entries and points of exits, there's a lot of successful trades that can be made in the space, guys. Quite honestly, there's traders that just swear by the Ichimoku itself. I actually use Ichimoku as a back tester towards my price action charts, but
what do you mean by that?
My primary.
He means like bias. Use it for bias.
Yeah, so I use it as a secondary checkpoint for me. I don't open up with any indicators from now on. So the way I trade these days is that I never use indicators as my first workaround for a chart, if that makes sense. I never use it as to enter a chart. Yeah, I always look at it from supports, resistances, what the candles are telling me first. I'll check lines, and then afterwards I'll go into indicators. The reason for this is because almost actually all indicators out there are lagging versus being active. And that's correct, right, Cowboy? All indicators are lagging.
Yeah, they're just based on past information. So
correct. Yeah. So if you want to look at something in the future, indicators are obviously going to always be lacking. So that's why I use indicators secondary. Another thing. So typically when I chart Bitcoin, guys, I actually won't use the 4-hour. I'll actually use the daily. That is what I'll use for Bitcoin. And
why don't we do this? You guys tell me if this is a good use of our time, just to close out the discussion on Ichimoku. Could we look at what's happening right now with, say, Bitcoin and maybe, I don't know, something like Ethereum or Bitcoin Cash, something near the top?
So let's
tell us what it's telling you.
So right now, let's take a look at Bitcoin right now, right? So this right now is bearish. The reason why it's bearish is because, for starters, you have this overlapping cloud right here. This is the Kumo cloud. The Kumo cloud is red. Very simple. Yes. It's bearish. On top of it, it tried to break out right here. The Tenkan-sen line tried to break out of the Kijun-sen line. It overlapped.
So the blue line going over the red line would be a bullish indicator.
Would be a bullish signal. And I'll show you guys an example real fast. But right now, at the moment, it is overlapping right now. So technically, it could break through. But it tried to break through right here. As you can see, if you actually zoom in right here, there was a little bit of a breakthrough right here, and then it failed. It dropped out. To show you guys, this is actually a very big deal for Bitcoin, because the last time it broke upwards was in July through the Kijun-sen line. So you can see back in July is when the last time the blue line was above the red line, essentially, for extended period of time. So it was like that for about a month, and you saw this giant rise up with Bitcoin. It went from 6,000 all the way up to 8,000. So 2,000 point rise right there. And then once again, it called a point of exit. And then if you just traded Ichimoku and you just focus on the point of exit right now, and you open the short right here, you would make a lot of money. Just look at this short, right? If you open the short right here, this thing just trailed all the way down to here. It essentially went from 7,000.
So even though you have that temporary little bump over that, it doesn't matter. You see the trend continues sinking way down.
Yeah,
that's
even if you
chart. So it's a longer term. So yeah, the little blips in the meantime don't mean that much. You know,
I mean, there is literally no blips right here at all. It only has a temporary blip down here in which you would have, let's just say you opened the short right here going against Bitcoin, thinking that Bitcoin's going to go down. You would have essentially closed your short at 3,700.
So this is actually a pretty important moment, because it looks like it could break out, which would be.
I would say not that it is an important moment. I would say that it could be.
It could be.
Yeah, it could.
We don't have a breakout. I mean,
we have to watch.
We have an equilibrium of sorts, but one of the things that we have to understand is that if that TK cross happens below the cloud, it's a weak bullish signal.
Gotcha.
If it happens in the cloud, it's a moderate bullish signal. If it happens above, it's a strong bullish signal. So,
very good.
You know, I certainly wouldn't bet everything on it. I would, you know.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah, that was very helpful.
We got the last time it crossed above the cloud, I mean, it was back here, guys, in September 2017.
Oh, we know what happened then.
Yeah. October 2017 was the major time it crossed above.
So we've got a couple of questions in the chat. I think that's sufficient. I said originally look at 2 or 3, but I think that was very helpful. A couple quick questions for you guys. In the chat, Kevin wants to look at Ethereum. Just curious what your thoughts are on it. He says it's low volume, but it's still intriguing. You guys know anything about that?
No, I don't know anything about Ethereum. If you have,
all right, sorry, Kevin. Nothing intelligent to say.
If you've got a signal, if you've got a what's it called, I can't even think right now, guys. If you have a name for it, like where I can trade it, track it, I'll take it up on TradingView.
He says it's really, really low volume. Why don't we instead, we got Mark, hey Mark, asking us thoughts on Dash and BNB.
Dash and BNB.
Yeah,
BNB is like a little bit of an apathetic coin. It's one of those where BNB is it's based on volume and Binance, a lot of it. And there's some other factors that kind of push it around too. So here's the question, and this is one thing that's an important thing that traders should all understand about any altcoin. If Bitcoin drops 10% and your altcoin goes up 2%, you're not gaining that many Satoshi. You're gaining 2% instead of 10%. So if you just were to exit Bitcoin and BNB, and then Bitcoin dropped to 10%, you just made 10% Bitcoin instead of 2%. So, you know, and this is something that, like, there are a lot of junkies that just love to trade. Right now, Bitcoin is extremely, like, unpredictable. And so if it drops hard, and if you're in alts, then you're going to take even harder hit. So I just want to let everybody know that right now I'm not even really looking at alts until Bitcoin has a decisive move.
Yeah, let's just look real fast right now on the Ichimoku right now, guys. I got it pulled up right now for BNB, right? So we're on the daily, so it's a pretty long frame right now. You see a point of entry right here back in December for BNB, back in December, right? And you see it right here. Look at that. It caused a point of entry inside the cloud. Some people see, some people don't. This is why the Ichimoku is such a powerful indicator. There's point of entry right here, and it's been rising up since then. Now, of course, I see a little bit of concaveness at the top right here, which is why I wouldn't enter it right now personally. But you do see this point of entry right here, and if you actually, like I said, if you were to just trade points of entry, you could make a lot of money. I mean, look at this, right? This point of entry, it's clear as day right there.
Pretty
Boom,
cool.
point of entry, enter.
This is on the what?
This is on the daily.
On the daily. Very cool.
And then right here, once again, back in the day, BNB, another coin that has not showed a point of entry for a long time. So this actually is a sort of a bullish market for BNB. The last time we saw a real strong point of entry for BNB was May of 2018, and as you see right here, May of 2018, point of entry above the cloud, boom, giant rise up. Saw a point of exit right here. If you exited up, you still made quite a bit right here in this distance. Let's just say you were to just trade points of entry and points of exits. I
always exit at the exact top. So
so another one right there to here. I mean, yeah, the Ichimoku is a good one to trade, guys. I mean, check it out for yourself. Do your own research on that. But it is a strong indicator. And then finally, Ethereum.
I think Dash was the other one he wanted you to look at.
Dash.
Dash, yeah.
Dash. Yeah. So Dash right now, if you look at it from Ichimoku standpoint, Dash is not in bullish territory right now. It is actually in bearish territory now. So it's really simple, guys. Whenever it is below the cloud, it is bearish. It's just that simple. If you want to just use it from Ichimoku standpoint, below the cloud, bearish. Above the cloud, bullish. Right now, Dash is, it's recovering a bit, right? If you were to just take it from traditional TA, you have a falling wedge right there. So you have a falling wedge right there, and as you can see right now, it's testing, it's trying to pop through. But right now, I personally would not be entering Dash. If I would have entered Dash here, at, let's just say at the breakout point, which is at 19,776, and right now it's at 203. I guess a soft target for me would probably be the bottom of this cloud. That would be a soft target, probably 21.
If you scroll back, you can see price continues to kind of rise towards the cloud and get rejected at the cloud. It's a pretty common thing.
So the cloud also acts as another form of resistance, guys. So there's a few different forms of resistance that we talk about, right? One of them is the Kumo cloud. Obviously, you have traditional resistances that go sideways, that go horizontal, that you can tell that we've called out a few times, like right here. This is a resistance, and then finally, you have your EMAs and moving averages that also act as resistances.
I don't trade like that, but I will say that the as far as using EMAs, I don't like to use EMAs for that. But the cloud itself is actually based on price. That's why it acts as a resistance. It's based on order blocks.
Yeah, some people like using EMAs, moving averages for resistances and supports. I know a lot of swing traders like to use it. I personally use it when I'm scalping 1 or 2% here and there on MEX. That's personally my form of trading when I like to trade very, very aggressively. But that's another monster, guys. That's advanced trading. That's actually very advanced trading.
So advanced.
Yes, that's another. That's that's something that even in the Watch of Trade room, I try not to show too much of, because it can be very confusing, and we don't want to confuse people inside there. We want to give concrete calls that are solid, instead of just being like every other trade room that just launches out calls every second, and have a hit rate of 60%, but then you're also still losing 40% on a massive side.
Very cool. We found Ethereum. I put it in our little chat there if somebody wants to pull it up. I don't even know if it has charts, but
I don't know.
Ethereum.
Oh yeah, there's a chart on CoinMarketCap. I put it in our Telegram, our private Telegram.
I'm sorry, I can't pull up the private Telegram right now because of my screen share. But what's the symbol name?
IETH.
IETH.
Okay, I can't see it, guys. It's not available. I'm sorry, boys.
Okay. Yeah, no
can't
problem.
trade that. Let's see any questions.
Somebody asked about a rune indicator. I use it. I use it as like a tertiary or even a further back, just for bias. So
yeah, actually, Romero, we actually Cowboy actually did a video on a rune indicator already. So if I were you, I would go check that out, my man.
That's on the Nako's channel, right?
Yeah, on the Nako's channel. I mean, if you're inside the Watch Trade Room, just message us and I'll shoot you over the link. But Cowboy already did that. We'll stick to pointers on Ichimoku today, guys.
Super Conscious wants to know if we're having an end of year what party.
Yeah,
we're all going to Cowboy's house.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be going to a bunch of conferences this year, guys. So, if you guys are at some of these conferences, feel free to hit me up. Feel free to come say hi to me. I'll be going to a bunch of them this year. So, yeah, just look for me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Yes. I guess that wraps it up.
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah. We never said go to watchestrade.io and check out our 7-for-7 deal. 7 days full access. Yeah, I don't know. We said a lot of things. Most of them offensive.
It's the link in the description,
guys. The most racist episode ever.
Watchestrade.io, $7 for 7 days full access. Go check it out. And
right, you got to say it like this: 7 for 7, 7 days for $7.
7 for 7, man.
It's 7 for 7. Go freaking check it out, you stupid dumb mother.
That was Joe Pesci, folks.
That was Joe Pesci yelling at you that you haven't joined yet. Yes. So,
hey, interesting point, real fast, guys. For those of you that want to look at the Ichimoku as well, Ethereum is showing a point of entry right now, technically, inside of the Kumo cloud. So that's an interesting point.
It's interesting. The alts are going to be severely affected by BTC.
Yeah.
In fact, if you were to look at the BTC chart, if you zoom in on the right, like to present time, there's an Ichimoku exit signaled.
Ethereum BTC?
No, BTC USD.
Oh, yeah. So Ethereum, I'll just pull up this last example, guys.
Sure.
Point of entry right there for Ethereum versus a BTC. If you were to enter right there, boom, giant rise up right there. So, yeah. Anyways, this is just a baseline about the Ichimoku, guys. Like I said, some traders are very, very successful using this, using various settings inside the Ichimoku for various time frames, and they use it for stocks, they use it for forex, they use it for a lot of things, guys. And there's a reason why the Ichimoku has, there is a masterclass on the Ichimoku.
Yeah, Ichimoku is legit, no doubt.
7 for 7.
And with that being said, we're over now.
All right, get it.